call in Will to either hit a chip or a putt on that hole for you. So maybe it's bunker shot. You're good with bunker shots? He's in on everything except tee shots, so it's going to be by the green. Okay, we're really dialing in here. So let's get some balls in the air. Let's get loose because we do have some photos to take after with everyone, and then we have to get out there. What's the warm-up process here? Have we done some stretching this morning?
Nope.
No stretching. Okay.
Normally, this was before a tournament round. I probably would have been in the gym about an hour ago. But we're kind of straight.
Only the Nexus Cup.
Straight from Rome.
Okay. What do we have here?
9.
Just a little 9. Okay.
Well, how was Rome?
Rome was great.
Thanks. It sounded smooth. Will, this is your first time at Liberty National.
Yeah, first time here. But,
You never played the playoff round here?
We're going in deep
high school.
First impressions?
Unbelievable. I mean, what a day. I mean, this is pretty special, especially even yesterday. Walking around town, this was pretty almost spiritual walking around town. So this is pretty cool to be here today. But I think one question I actually had for Rick is,
go ahead.
Obviously swing changes, crushed it, been playing amazing. Just give us like a little hint as to like what have been some of the changes that you've gone through.
So over the last few years, I unfortunately didn't play well with Tillery, but I learned a lot about swinging myself and kind of what I needed to do. And then being back with Butch kind of just simplified a few things. And like I said, I had a good idea of what needed to be done generally. My tendency's always been club a little outside, gets delayed off. So I basically had to feel like a better move to here off the ball. And then if I was holding the wheel, I had to feel like I turned this way. Because I've always gone that way.
You're not being wrong.
He does this
Not at all.
at home as well. So to exaggerate, like I said, would be getting it to a good spot here. And then it feels like I'm trying to get the club pointing that way.
I'm over here. Just working on it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see it.
So, I mean, a drill I've done a bit, yep.
Stretching. Let me stretch.
Keep an eye on back here. But here, free throw. We can start. I don't have many thoughts up there.
No. I put you in the top position. You hold it, and then you go. Yes or no?
I haven't done much of that. It'd be more just getting it because my tendency is to not be in a good spot there. So started that a year ago. Played Napa and had a decent finish, and now with the swing stuff, I don't have to feel as exaggerated. But a year ago, it felt very awkward. But luckily, it was coming out, so there was at least gave me some belief.
So it took you a year to figure it out. Slow learner.
Rick, you mentioned home games. Of course, you and Tiger, among others, are at Medalist. Take us through how a game is constructed. You guys text in, meet in 30 minutes, or are you showing up? How's it all work?
He hasn't been around. I haven't been much.
Let's go back into the memory banks.
It's yeah, kind of you typically know roughly who's home. Depending on what's coming up, like next week, there's going to be a handful of us since there's.
What do you do with this?
How do you hold it normal? Like I'll go bottom thumb it down there. So that's your top thumb. There you go. That's like 35 inches.
Never thought we'd see the day Tiger Woods asked how to hold a putter.
So slow learner.
I brought my old baby with me.
Oh, the 8802.
There it is.
We've had some matches.
Yes.
We'll have a bunch of matches next week because we got myself, Xander, Cantlay, JT, Brooks, and then we have other guys that obviously live around there. But we'll have fun with it, because especially getting ready for Rome.
Very cool. So Rome's obviously on deck, but take us back to 2017 right here, President's Cup, Liberty National. I know it wasn't very competitive in a good sense, but what do you remember from that week, the big takeaways?
We played really well here. A little different setup. Everything was over there. We were warming up on the back of the range, and then teeing off 5 was our number 1. Luckily, we put ourselves in a position where nearly locked it up on Saturday. I got to sit Saturday afternoon while, watching the rest of the guys kind of do their work, and like I said, we had a chance to nearly close it out. I may have had a couple drinks Saturday afternoon watching. Couples there as well.
If anyone has questions, raise your hand. How do you take this quarter back? How do you start?
I can't get the hand to move.
It's a lot more less hands and more big muscles, shoulders.
So you take it back with your upper body?
I just don't even think about it, but
So where is your feel?
well, so I'd be holding it down there.
Okay. What takes the top head back?
I would say
I'm trying to move this head. I can't move it.
Yeah, I don't. Well, for me, I like with that, it calmed my hands down to where I didn't get handsy, and then just used them kind of for feel. Like I feel like my left with that stays locked, and then so it's
Why would you want to feel your left locked?
because my tendency on putting would get too much load, and then I'd kind of throw it early.
Many ways to play this game, ladies and gentlemen, as we're seeing now.
It just quieted down and stabilized everything.
Understand? Yeah.
So speaking of swing tips, I know you guys are chopping it up.
Yep.
All of you have played in lots of pro-ams. You've seen lots of amateurs. I'm sure many here have stayed up countless hours watching YouTube videos. What's the one tip that you would give an amateur if he or she wanted to just improve their game? Don't watch YouTube. Okay. What's the second one that's called balls?
Don't watch YouTube.
Don't hit balls.
Yeah.
But just beating balls?
Just beating balls.
Okay, Rick, what about you?
Yeah, a lot of it, like T-Dub said, it comes from reps. Whether it's working on swing stuff or whatever it may be. I mean, first and foremost is having good club head awareness, knowing where that's at. I mean, your swing could be pretty, but if you don't know how to put the club on the ball, and there's really no way to help that other than just hit balls.
Just getting it out there.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that is now everyone is indoors simulating everything. So the problem is you hit into a net or a simulator, you never see what the ball is actually doing.
Yeah, I mean, I would add on to that it's not about like going out for an hour and a half, every 3 days. Like, get 20 minutes in a day and build up the repetition. That's how, especially like when I'm coming back, it's not about the length, it's about the quality of practice that I do for 30 minutes. And it's like, one thing that you'll see, especially like if he's in a grind session, he's not going to sit here and just keep raking ball after ball after ball. He's going to try to work on something to hit the best shot he possibly can every single time. Now, obviously, right now he's just getting loose. He's having, warming it up. But I think that's one thing, especially when it comes to amateurs. The only other thing I would add is way too many good shots end up short, and just keep taking extra club. I mean, that's just day in, day out. We see that nonstop. And I don't care if I'm playing with a 2 or a 25. If they say 7 or 6 and I haven't seen a good shot, I'm telling them 5.
And then obviously match play today. You've all had much success in match play. Something different goes on when something's on the line. Obviously, a lot of us aren't playing in stroke play events, but how do you take the game from the range to the course? And then, are there any tips to getting your mind ready when when you have that putt that actually matters?
Well, therein lies the trick, is that we're all Ranger rigs. So how do we take it to the golf course? And for me, the last few reps are the most important. Like my dad was a big proponent of just, what is this? It's warming up. Exactly. You're loosening up to warm up to go play. No matter how good or how bad I hit it, it was just strictly a warm up. Now you're warmed up, now go play. Like, so that was kind of useless? No, it wasn't useless. You got loose to be warm to go play. So no matter how good I hit it or how bad I hit it, it was useless? Pretty much. So my last 2 reps with my driver, my 8-iron, and whatever I hit off the first tee, the last 3 reps, are the most important. So whatever I'm hitting feel-wise, like Rickie saying 9-iron, I would go for my bag, sandwich, 8-iron, horn, 5-wood, driver, back to my 8-iron, sandwich. But my last 3 are with my sandwich, 8-iron, and where I'm going to hit off the first tee, and those are the most important. So I want to rehearse what I'm going to do when I get to the pool.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of guys, their last, whatever, shot or 2 on the range is what they're visualizing, what they can hit off the first. And just so you have something that you can kind of hopefully hit a good one, and that's it. And you have that to rely on going over. You know your field kind of thought for the day. So.
Yeah, I mean, even to add some detail, like I do the same thing. First tee ball, I go through my full process and hit it. But you even mentioned about how it's like if you didn't like the shot, you didn't have to go. Club goes on the bag, start the whole routine all over again. Take it out of the bag, full routine.
Hit it good, I go. I hit it bad, I start all over again.
Yeah. And there's an adage of like, what are the 3 most important turns on a ski run? And everyone thinks, oh, it's the first 3 or the last 3. It's 3 getting on the lift. That gets your mind ready to go, and so that's exactly what it's saying.
Rickie, you mentioned yesterday you're the 2nd oldest player on the Ryder Cup team this year. What have you seen as we see this kind of new influx of young players come up? Like, how is the difference in generations from kind of the new crop versus kind of your generation versus other generations?
It just seems like it continues to be more and more guys that are coming out of college ready to go. I feel like for a handful of years there'd be 1 or 2, and no one like him, but now you're getting handfuls that are coming out every year. So I think when we were talking inside, Tita was saying through his 20s he was pretty much the youngest. There was some guys that had been around and vets that were kind of staples that were on those teams, and now it's definitely continued to shift and be younger.
And Tiger, we were talking earlier because I had heard a story and I didn't know if it was true, and we're going to ask you to retell it. How did you meet Darius Rutger? And there was also a surprise guest. I'm sorry? Okay, fair enough. We're gonna have to have Darius.
So, no, Hootie the Blowfish, I hadn't heard of him yet, and the tennis player, the female tennis player on the team was from Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo. So I was playing the Western Amateur at that time in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and she invited me to stay with her boyfriend on campus. I'm like, hey, great. So we go watch this band play, and it was Hootie the Blowfish. At that time, no one knew who Hootie the Blowfish was. And so we went out to a bar that night. I was underage, so I did not partake. But in walks the Stanley Cup. So 2 of the guys on the Detroit Red Wings at the time brought the Stanley Cup in. So we got to sip out of the Stanley Cup that night, which that's how I met Darius.
Darius knew who you were.
He wants to see us, Sam. Yeah.
Very nice.
Were you born yet? No. 96.
So you mentioned the U.S. Amateur. Obviously, the Amateur just passed as well as the Walker Cup. And I'm going to ask Rick and Will this. When you think about Tiger's 3 straight U.S. Junior Amateurs followed by 3 straight U.S. Amateurs, it's surprising to even say this, but is that arguably the most impressive feat in golf?
It's up there because I was just excited when I qualified for 3 straight U.S. Amateurs.
I'm the biggest loser of all the winners. I've played it the most, and I've only won it once.
I haven't won it, so.
Yeah, I mean, like.
How many U.S. juniors have you played?
Played 5.
I played 4. You played when you were 13?
I got one. That's it. I got one.
You qualified when you were 13?
12. I went 9 under for my last 12, so I'm pretty blacked out.
You were 12 years old and shot 9 under? He good.
I mean, no, man.
He good.
I was 12. I was just excited. That was the first time.
You were excited. I was excited too.
Well, thankfully the qualifier course was like 6,500 yards, and then we show up to the course we're playing at 7,300, and I couldn't get to some of the par fours, so I made up for it.
Did you ever qualify for a PGA Tour event as an amateur?
Yeah, thanks to you. Actually, showcase. Yeah, that's nice. Good play. Little layup.
So Will won the Collegiate Showcase at now the Genesis Invitational, of course, at Riviera in 2015, when you were a sophomore? Freshman at Wake Forest, excuse me. And obviously now he tees it up as a professional at Riv. And Scotty Scheffler won in 2018, and obviously we've seen him to go to #1 in the world. So the Collegiate Showcase has really been a nice kind of proving ground and experience builder for a lot of these pros. Okay, Rick, you seem warmed up. Yesterday, Kiz was hitting kind of 6 and 7 irons from 172. There's a lot of wind in his face on 2.
We got a little help today.
Yeah, so a little help. So maybe it'll bump up to 8, maybe a little stinger 9. We got to see where the flag is. But how are you feeling overall? Because again, you're going to get that question a lot.
It's roughly coming out of the middle.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
I feel halfway decent.
I have a question. We always we go to these golf courses and they're like, you have to hit the divots like this. And then when we go to the tour ranges, it seems like you guys do whatever you want. Is that just an old wives' tale, or you just do whatever you want? With the squares.
I don't know.
You think 6?
5. I'd say everyone kind of does some different stuff depending on, you know, if they want to see different stuff with divots. You can obviously, like, I know at TPI back in the day, they liked when guys did individual divots and kind of created like a checkerboard.
Yeah.
Grass can grow in easier versus a big chunk of grass taken out.
Well,
I'm just trying to make it, you know, a little tougher for the super. We'll sand it.
They're doing a good job.
But then you'll see guys that put sticks down, want to work on alignment, and we'll end up working rows of divots.
And then, Will, are you going to get to the 11th hole and maybe hit some putts, or are you going to just go cold?
Well, yeah, at some point. I was trying to see how far it is, because if it's under 140, I might go out there and hit a couple.
You can play front tee.
Oh, I think it's 250 from the back.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked if I could play at 140.
We'll see.
You've always been on the weed side.
I think we have some photos. You guys are around for some photos? Okay, so what we're going to do, first of all, let's have a hand for our guests here. Tiger Woods, Rickie Fowler, Will Zalatoris. Thank you so much. I also want to shout out Joe LaCava's in the house. Joe, raise your hand. Joe's going to be out there on the 4th hole today. Joey in the back, the legend. He's going to be helping both teams kind of play that hole. Obviously a legend of the game. Trust his reads. And you'll see Joe out there. And now we have this beautiful New York City skyline. We're going to do team photos. This is why you suit up today, and we're gonna ask all of our players to get up there, and we're gonna do it very organized, and we're gonna call you out by team. Lindsay's raising her hand over here, so get together, and one 18-hole match today. Remember, we're not going to reset. Everyone's playing whatever